What's going on, everyone? Welcome to another special edition of the Hash It Out Show. I am your host, the one they call JB, your sports guy. I'm being joined by the president of the Stetson Bennett fan club, the one, the only, VK Jones. What's going on, VK?
What's going on, man? And the advocate of the two-time undisputed champion. But it's good to be here and appreciate the intro, Mr. Keith Sweat. Keith Sweat,
Yes, indeed.
the softy right there. Appreciate it, my man. You know what I'm
uh,
saying? It's all good. we, you know,
whatever,
we, we, we
man.
we have we have our favorites. We have our favorites.
Yes, indeed. Also joining us is my good friend, Mr. George Peppers. What's up, George Peppers?
Good evening, Jared Boyd. I'm doing wonderful, bro. I'm off this weekend. Life's good, man. I can't complain for Sean. Good to see you too, my brother. How you doing?
I'm great, George. I'm great. It's a 4 day for me. You know what I'm saying? It's I'm going to enjoy it. Actually a 3 day, so
Yeah.
I don't want to say it too loud, but 3 day weekend coming up. So I cannot wait for
Well, ladies and gentlemen, on today's show, we're going to talk about the Saints, the Pelicans, talk about a little bit of Louisiana high school basketball, getting to the All-State Sugar Bowl prep basketball classic that happened. Talk about that a little bit. But first, let's get right into it. As we know, if you watched Monday Night Football over a week ago, you saw the tragic incident that happened to Damar Hamlin. Made a routine tackle, got up and collapsed, went into cardiac arrest. Had to be, they had to give him CPR just to get a heartbeat and rushed him back to the hospital. And as of yesterday, he was released from the hospital. Praise God. All I want to say is that there are more important things in life than a football game. And Damar Hamlin's life was the most important thing at the time when this incident happened. And as we all know, Damar Hamlin won. He won the game of life as his life is able to continue. I don't care what anybody says. When this happened, the thought of a football game shouldn't have been in no one's mind. Not at all. All thoughts and prayers should have been with Damar Hamlin. I don't care about rescheduling the game, a number 1 seed, a 2 seed, whatever. The most important thing was getting this guy the help he needed. You saw his teammates all in tears, Bengals players worried. It was just a sad event that happened, but he came out alive, and that's the most important thing. I don't know if he'll be able to play football again. We don't know. Time will tell. But like I said, he won the game of life. George Peppers.
Oof. I mean, where do you start? Because tragedy brings truth and brings insensitivity. And I think we got a lot of it over this last week and change. But I think a huge majority of the truth was we can unite as a country. Look at the Child Foundation, the Toy Foundation that Damar Hamlin made. His goal was $2,500. Well, when everybody got wind of what happened, with the foundation, it has now cleared almost $4.5–5 million in total funding. It's a beautiful thing called unity, isn't it? I
Yes,
mean,
yes, sir.
it is an absolutely gorgeous thing to see, a united country. It is possible that we can unite in America, and I am heartstruck, warm. You know, it gave a great feeling. Obviously, Damar Hamlin, as you mentioned, Jared, I can only echo what you said about him winning a game of life, because I didn't see it live. I was at work that night. I had no clue until I left after 10 o'clock. My mom had it on uh 870, and they do an overnight sports show. And I want to share this quick story with you. This is right after what happened at Damar, and obviously he had to be resuscitated twice. He flatlined
Right,
2 times.
right.
So they bring him to the hospital, and again, I'm just getting wind of this after 10 o'clock, and there was a bonehead caller that called in. I thought this would be the only random thing over this week. Obviously, it didn't happen. But this guy comes on and goes, the NFL should have makeshift hospitals at every stadium in America. Me working in law enforcement, me understanding what emergency procedures are. They gave this man CPR for 9 minutes. I'm CPR trained. And I can tell you, I'm 52 and I'm a heavy set dude. You try doing 30-second, ritual compressions with your hands on the man's chest and pray to God you don't break ribs over that, any kind of bones over that stretch. Obviously, there were people that helped. But, ladies and gentlemen, facts are you tire fast doing that. And this guy basically was completely ignorant. And I just exploded. I mean, in front, and I didn't say it, obviously anything dirty or nothing, but I was like, what is this guy on? I thought that was the end of it until the next day. And then he obviously had the dumbest idiot in sports flapping his gums. And you know who I'm talking about. Skip Baseless.
Mm-hmm.
Not Bayless. Baseless. When you leave a tweet and you start with the idea of the result of the football game impacting, and then you piggyback and say, oh, wait, it doesn't really matter. Your intent was clear, bud. You can't backtrack off of that. And
That's
then
correct.
Bart Scott that afternoon, a guy who was a multi-time All-Pro, spewed the nonsense of T. Higgins, using his helmet as a crown. No, 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 no. Both those guys should have been reprimanded by their respective employers, not terminated. Well, in Bayless's case, I would have 86'd him. He'd have been gone because he does this all the time. This is a big mouth, crude imbecile. Excuse me for using such strong language, Jared. I apologize to you. But as a sports journalist, as a fan, as a human being, it disgusted me. It totally disgusted me. And to Damar Hamlin and his family, I know we're out there on the internet. Our thoughts and prayers continue with Damar. And Damar, you have won the game of life, my friend, but keep fighting. And the ultimate victory would be, and I don't know if it's realistic. I want to be overly optimistic. I'd love to see this man on a football field, but you know what? If he doesn't, he's already won. He's already won to me. No matter what happens the rest of the way. He's 24. Just live your life, son. You've got everything in front of you now. You have fought the biggest battle and won. Now it's time to make things happen in different ways, not football.
VK Jones.
Very, very interesting statements. Very interesting statements by you both. I definitely, you know, definitely with everything everybody said, man. I mean, this really had to put this things had to be put to perspective more than anything else, big time. I mean, it was that day. That wasn't like the day after New Year's, right?
It
Trying to
was.
think what
Same
day it
day as
was.
Tulane.
Oh, okay, yeah, that was
Yeah,
that
same day.
night.
I was on the
That
plane
was that night.
coming back, watching it when it happened. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Uh, Unbelievable because when I found out about it and everything, I was like, wow, that was just unbelievable, you know. And for both teams, and I got to give a lot of props to both head coaches, understanding what was going on, how devastated the players were, especially mentally and everything else, for them to stop the game where it is. And then on top of that, just not play it at all. Big time props to them because they know what was more important than a game. This was about somebody's life was on the line, could have died on the field, and for them, that's big time for them. And that's commendable for the league to say, "Nah, we're not going to play this game. We're not going to even set a time. We're not." That's big. That's really big, and for everyone to work together to make that happen, to be like, hey, we have to take this serious. It really had prioritized what needs to be done for emergencies in the game, in and out, and it's unbelievable. A lot of things are about to change, and I think NFL's making strides, especially in stadiums and everything, to make sure everybody is straight health wise, even if you are having a heart attack or something like that. It's amazing that how it has grown, and we haven't seen too much of that back then. So that is really huge for the NFL to make strides and to make strides like that. But besides all that, you know, big time prayers going to DeMar Hamlin. I love to say praise be to God for him to come out of what happened. And, he's definitely a big time winner in all this. And I'm not that my thing is the people who said people who worry about the game and look, people gonna stop and look at the bigger picture. George, you're absolutely right. People are not going to come together like talking about it because everybody have their own damn priorities. And then on top of that, then people most of the time it's hard for people to come together for one cause. And that's why a lot of times, to be honest, I don't trust the government. I don't trust certain things because they can never come together for one cause. They can never come together. But for the people to look at the bigger picture and understanding we had a person that could have died on the field. Why are you worrying about a freaking game? It should not be that way. It should be not that way now, and it should be not that way in life. We have to look at what's important first than anything else before you get priority to anything else. DeMar Hamlin's life was the most important thing for anybody, and for him to live, it's awesome to me. I'm happy for him and his family. I hope that he can go ahead. Like if he finds out this is the same thing that Hank Gathers dealt with in the early '90s, the irregular heartbeat and everything that caused him to die on the court. And I hope you remember that, Jared. I don't know if you did, but Hank Gathers was a unbelievable basketball player that played for the old Marymount. And man, if you see the story about it, it's really amazing. But for him to try to play it out, but if he has that same arrhythmic heartbeat that Hank Gathers was dealing with, it's a good time. You call it a career, but at the same time, you move on in your life. You do what you need to do to go forward. Now, but it's going to be a decision on tomorrow. But I wish him the best, continue success in his health going forward, and just to think on what he needs to do going forward in the future. But take it one day at a time, man. You live to fight another day.
Well said, guys. Well said. Just happy that he's healthy and be with his family and get well. That's the main thing. Move to the New Orleans Saints. George Peppers, I'm going to start with you. What does the future look like for the Saints? Do we keep Dennis Allen?
My.
Does Sean Payton come? Do we keep Michael Thomas? What is going on? Let me know.
I think your first clue of every domino is Michael Thomas. The restructure that they gave him saved this team $14 million in cap space. I think they're alleviating the cap jail a little bit with him. That's your first domino. What do they do with him? For me, since 2019, he's been an absolute no-show. That of course your cynics are going to say, well, he don't want to be here or whatnot. Then he makes these cryptic tweets talking about I'm happy in New Orleans and whatnot. Look, if he comes back, he comes back. If he doesn't, it's no great shakes. I think the Saints need to be aggressive and do something with him. As far as the coaching situation, it's already been announced, but Don't hold your breath. They're saying Dennis Allen will be back. That being said, there's an interesting trade proposal involving one Patrick Sean Payton. All right. And I would pay attention to it. I don't think it's going to happen, but a Saints based website, I can't remember it off the top of my head, proposed this idea. You do see that a coach in LA is about ready to 86 it. Sean McVay. If McVay is truly serious about leaving LA, I don't think this is realistic, but it's out there. Would you, as Saints fans, more than me? I mean, I like the Saints, I do, except when they play the Giants, but that's another story. Until 2023's regular season, because they're on the schedule. Would you, both of you, trade Sean Payton to the Rams and in compensation, included in the compensation package, get Sean McVay to coach in New Orleans if he wants to try another rebuild with a team that's
Me
going
and
to
VK, me and
yes.
VK, I actually said it on Facebook, like, hey, you could bring and agree with me. So yeah, I'm fine with McVay coming here. I am.
But here's the thing. Go ahead, VK.
I'm definitely for it. That's one of the things I was going to talk about, but continue, George.
You got that. All right. Obviously, he's got an interview. He's scheduled to interview himself with the Denver Broncos. Where there's smoke, there's fire. But what do the Broncos have for us that we want? They have a first-round pick. It isn't the one at the top of the draft. It is the one the 49ers have at 31. Look here, Mickey Loomis. I don't know if I want you making these decisions. I think I want a new GM making those decisions. I don't want this regime doing it. I think they've run their course. I think it's time to remake this front office. Gail Benson, if you're listening, remake this front office, kick Mickey upstairs, get some fresh voices in the building. I mean, I like Mickey. He's done great things. Saints fans, y'all cannot crap on the man. Y'all can't because he got you a Super Bowl. Yes, it was 2009, but he also bought you relevancy. The New Orleans Saints are a relevant franchise because of the work, salary cap, and personnel wise of one Mickey Loomis. No, he's not done it by himself lately because he's had Jeff Ireland, but he's also had the great capologist Kai Harley. And so I just feel like it's time to remake this front office, put some fresh voices in the building, kick Mickey upstairs to the obviously to the president spot or whatever. I forget the position that's open, but kick him upstairs and get a new football voice in that building. That's the other thing. Now, said on the voice, if my potential idea comes to pass, if said on the voice says Dennis Allen's going to be the coach, boys, we're gonna have to eat this like cauliflower. I mean, I like cauliflower, but I'm saying it's gonna be one of those situations where you like think of the food you don't like and you're forced to eat it. You know, I don't want Dennis Allen back. Yeah, you could tell me that they've won 3 of the last 4 in the defense. Look, the defense got healthy late in the season. It did. That's why they popped off and won the games they won down the stretch. But VK, and as I turn it to you, I think this is the same record of this team will have the same record because for one, the cash space isn't there. You better figure out a quarterback fast. It's not Andy Dalton, and it's definitely not. It's not either Dalton or Winston. You've already told us it's not Jameis, so let him go somewhere else and figure it out. There's their quarterback in this draft that can be that dude for the New Orleans Saints going forward. You know what? There's a couple of guys. I'll tell you one I don't want. I don't want this dude after watching tape on him. If that name crops up, which it won't, because he's going to get picked in the top 5, and whoever picks him sucks to be you, and that's Will Levis. I don't want any part of that dude in the NFL draft. That guy is completely, grossly overrated. And I'll say this, and VK is going to send me flowers and wine. Stetson Bennett is better than Will Levis. I'll say it with a straight face. I mean, Levis. I mean, and I know when I talk about the draft, VK and Jared, but look, just a peek ahead. Oh, by the way, y'all will lose one game next year because the New York Giants will be in the Superdome one day next season. I don't know when they. Obviously, the schedule comes out in May, but y'all get ready for that L because it's coming again. Part 2, baby boy, it's coming again. So, but a little early smack talk, way early. January 12th, 2023. But at the end of the day, get a quarterback. I would consider trading Alvin Kamara because you could recoup a lot for that guy. There's running backs in this draft you can get that could be that dude. It's loaded. But that's just me. There's a lot of things the Saints need to do, but the one, make it a singular goal to get this franchise right. Admit you got to rebuild. It's going to suck, but admit this is a rebuild, not a reload. You can't reload what you don't have. Rebuild.
Go ahead, VK.
Okay. All right. For one, yes, they need to burn it down. Mickey Loomis, I get what you're saying. Yeah, he got him a Super Bowl, but I'm gonna say it once, I'm gonna say it again. One of the most sometiming GMs we have ever seen. Remember, he messed up the Drew Brees deal. He messed up on his trade. He messed up on a lot of deals besides some of the good deals. That's sometiming. That is not consistency. So to me, Mickey Loomis' time is run out. He's got to go. Forget the president's box. Get him the hell out. It's time to get out of here. Jeff Allen got to go. Don't even think about it. Everybody forgets the failures he had in the Miami Dolphins. So plain and simple, he's got to go. Bring in new blood. Gail Benson needs to understand. She's done an unbelievable job getting the Pelicans together. Now it's time to get the Saints together. Tear it down, rebuild it up. First of all, on the master plan, I'm thinking for VK Jones, Sean McVay. Yes. Bring him to the city. It's time again. If you want to rebuild, you start with him. Still great young coach. He had to work with what he had to work with for the LA Rams. I think he'll come here for the Saints, get things rolling, and it's not going to be a quick fix, but he's going to get them going. And if they get the right GM, right voice, get the right players together, I'll tell you one thing: the Saints are going to be something else. They're going to have to make some trades, make some little deals going, so they can go get what they want. Now at quarterback, this is what they're going to need to do. I don't give a damn who they trade or whatever. This one name, and I must tell you this now. If this team screws up, the Saints better do all they can to get him and build from there. And I'll tell you one thing. You give it 2.5, 3 years, the Saints will get another title. Lamar Jackson. Because if Baltimore screws this up, the Saints better do everything they can. I don't care to trade Kamara. I don't care. You still get a young quarterback in him that can make throws, make plays with his legs and everything else. And plus, he will have targets. The Saints better do what they can to get Lamar Jackson here. If Baltimore screws the pooch. If they do that and they continue to build, because the biggest thing the Saints go out to build on, offensive linemen. Get some offensive linemen, get a couple defensive players. The receiving core is gonna be all good. Just the fact you gotta build for the O line, build a little bit from the secondary, build a little bit here, and once the chemistry comes together, 2 to 3 years down the line, you have Sean McVay, and Lamar Jackson. 2.5, 3 years, the Saints will be back in the Super Bowl, possibly winning a second title. So I'd say that's my master plan for the Saints going forward. We know some things, some people think I'm crazy, it might not happen. But who knows? I'm like this. Gail Benson, you need to go tear it down and build it. But there are ways you can get a rebuild that can be not too long if you take the chance. But regardless of the fact, you got to tear it down and start all over again.
I'm going to say this with them players on the team. And I'm going to say this. We need a quarterback. In order for the Saints to get a quarterback that they're going to have to pay money to, and I'm going to mention 3 names names that's going to be on that trading block. Michael Thomas, Alvin Kamara, Marshawn Lattimore. Block if the Saints are trying to get a quarterback. With that, those are separate trading blocks from what they are going to with Sean Payton. See, they're going to trade Sean Payton and get assets. You got to make room on the cap to get a quarterback. And I don't care if it's Derek Carr and Lamar Jackson. Something has to get done. I think with the DBs, we'll be okay and Paulson and Debo if we get rid of Marshawn Lattimore. Are they as good as Marshawn Lattimore? But I think we'll be fine. Number 2, Jarvis Landry, Tyrann Mathieu, do not resign him. Jarvis been hurt the whole year, and Tyrann can't tackle. You didn't need him in the first place. He can go. Now, let's make things work. Let's get that quarterback that we need. Want a lot. And God darn it, he deserves it. If we want to win, I'm trying to get him. We can't get him. Derek Carr might be your best next answer. But there are going to have to be some moves. I don't think some of those 3 are going to be gone. They might keep one, but Kamara, Michael Thomas, 2 out of 3, in my opinion, will not be here next year. And then we'll go from there. I'm okay with that trade for Sean Payton and Sean McVay. But hey, it's going to go. Also, I want Dennis Allen gone. Not a head coach. He's a DC. Number 2, Pete Carmichael got to go. Pete Carmichael go hire Matt Nagy from Kansas City to be the OC over here. Hands down. Before we move on, let me ask you a question. Do y'all really think Eric Bieniemy is the OC? Do y'all think he's calling the plays?
So you saying that Eric Bieniemy
left and right.
So you saying Eric Bieniemy is not calling the plays for Kansas City?
I'm asking the question if y'all think he is or not.
I think he is.
You think he is, George?
I don't. I'm going to disagree. I don't. I mean, I hate to say it, but all that scuttlebutt of the interviews that he's had with teams, his resume speaks for itself. But you know what? Matt Nagy's in KC now, and Matt Nagy didn't have the greatest success in Chicago. They did make one playoff berth, but that was a skullduggery at the hands of New Orleans.
He made more than one. He did make more than one.
Okay, but they lost to New Orleans in one of them. But I'm not sure Eric Bieniemy's calling the plays. Look, I know his cousin real well. I used to do shows with his cousin Brian Bieniemy. I don't know more. But that being said, who's got the credit for the play calling in KC? Yes, they are the number 1 seed in the playoffs. Vulnerable, but that'll be discussed in a little while. And both of you guys editorials about the Saints. There's one quarterback that none of us have mentioned, and I think he's the winningest quarterback of the bunch. I would not mind this dude here, because if you retool the O-line, get rid of VK's favorite player, Andres Pete. I'm just kidding when I say that. Get rid of that bloated contract some way. Jimmy Garoppolo wins a lot when he plays with San Francisco.
Yes.
Get Jimmy Garoppolo.
No.
Yes.
No.
Jimmy
No. Hell no.
Yes.
No.
I'm ordering.
Let me tell you something right now about Jimmy Garoppolo. I
He's a
understand
winner.
where you come. No, he's not. Let me tell you
What you
Bull,
something
mean
about
he not
what.
a winner? What you
No,
bull.
mean?
no. Let me tell you something right now. Let me tell you something right now. In the clutch, in the playoffs, I don't know if you've seen the Super Bowl and the conference championships. He chokes up. I don't
Watch
know
this,
what
Jared.
you are.
Watch
No,
this.
You
the
Watch this.
freaking
Hold
defense
up.
chose defense.
Hold
no,
on.
no,
First of
The
all,
no,
defense gave up both
no.
them
your
He threw
play
it.
games,
caller
bro.
Hold
screwed
on,
him.
hold on, hold on. How the play calling screw and he threw that
So
goddamn
okay,
pick
okay,
where the
okay. I'm glad you
playmakers
asked
right
that.
there? Come
Okay,
on,
all
man.
right.
You
I'm glad.
gotta be
Up
kidding me.
Watch
by double,
this. Hold
up by
on. About to get.
double digits.
Now
The
the play
defense didn't
calling on that,
come through.
not the play calling at first, and I'm gonna say this, George. I do agree with you a bit because the play calling, like we know who the head coach is. The same guy who blew the 28-3 lead. So we do agree on one thing. The play
Okay.
calling was horrendous. It was horrendous. I give it that. The biggest thing is the fact with Jimmy G, he's gotta be consistent more than anything else. Not just he's gotta make plays, but when it comes down to clutch, he's got to make plays. Like we understand, okay, the bad play calling and everything in the Super Bowl. But when the conference championship came about a year ago,
Okay.
I mean, he made some bad throws indeed in that ball game.
Oh
So
boy.
the fact of the matter is, he's got to stay on a consistent line. I'm not saying he's not a winner. It's just a fact of the matter is,
What are you
Jimmy
saying?
G. I'm saying when it comes down to the playoffs, to postseason, he's got to make the play. Can he do it? Can he do what Drew Brees did and get this team a title? Can he do it? That's the
The
biggest thing.
answer is yes. The answer is no doubt yes. Think about this. A few years ago, when Seattle made the Super Bowl. Oh, oh, no, I'm sorry, not that year. I'm sorry. Last season. Let me go. Not last season. 2 years ago when they lost. Last season when they lost to the Rams in the NFC Championship. Garoppolo didn't fail them. They were 20-10 in the fourth quarter on the road
That's what I'm
in
saying.
LA. They were 10 points clear. But Garoppolo, the one bad throw Garoppolo made was when they fell behind late. And I don't know
Late.
what the hell Kyle Shanahan was thinking on the ball that got away from Garoppolo. He should have ate it or got rid of it. Well, they got rid of it, meaning don't throw it to Aaron Donald. That was a bonehead play. But Garoppolo's a winner. I want that guy on my football team. I want that dude. Why? Because he wins. The dude wins. He puts up numbers too. He's not the flashy Mahomes. He's not Herbert. He's not any of them dudes, Aaron Rodgers, or any of them dudes. He is the second tier of top level quarterbacks. And the Saints don't have a tier of quarterbacks on their roster. Garoppolo immediately wins that locker room over and wins respect. Why? Look at the dude's resume. You talk about he fails in the clutch, but you fail to mention they were 10 points clear in LA in the NFC Championship game, and the defense gave it back. The defense that is supposed to be elite forgot to close. They forgot to close it. Don't give me this conspiracy that Matt Stafford was the Super Bowl was bought for the Rams. No, no. The 49er defense flat gagged and they spit
Let
the
me
bit late.
let me say this. Let me say this. Just
Go
like you
ahead.
said, they were up by double digits on the Rams with about 6 minutes left. They gave the game
Yep.
away. The Super Bowl 20 to 10 going into the fourth quarter. The defense let up a great defense that the 49ers have had up in both those games. We can say bad play call all we want, but man, the defense was. You hold Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs to 10 points going into the fourth quarter, you got to win the game.
But at the same time,
Jimmy G saved the season for them boys this year. Trey Lance get
Thank
hurt.
you.
Oh, man, we got to go get Jimmy G. We got to bring him back. He decides to come back. He should have been a starter regardless, and he saved the season for him.
that's true. That
Jimmy
is true.
G will do good in
I'm I'm
New Orleans.
I I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna say this. Now, I see what you're saying about the defense with the Niners and stuff like that, but here's the thing also as well. You got to put that to me, and I'm sorry. You have to put that on the play calling. No way in the world. Here's the thing. The defense got freaking tired. You have to go on long drives. You
Oh, they were
cannot.
20 to
You
10. How they got tired?
no
They got
no the
tired.
thing.
They were 20 to
No
10.
no 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 no. This is what I'm telling you. This is what I'm telling you. George, me and George is telling you the horrendous freaking play calling. What the hell y'all doing? What in your world y'all doing? Don't now see one thing with the Super Bowl. Like, yeah, you hold them to 10. You got there's somewhere somehow there's a point you gotta score more points, and then after that, there's gotta be a point. You got to start running the freaking clock. You got to start having long drives to keep your defense fresh. You have to do that. You don't get your defense fresh. You go on your quick drives, but you don't score. Guess what? The defense going right back on the goddamn field. You don't want that. That's what makes defenses tired. The Niners defense got tired, and that's what happened.
Oh,
We thought the horrendous caller was bad in the Super Bowl. The horrendous caller was pretty bad in the NFC Championship. All right, George. I mean, we was like, what some of the play call was like, what is he doing?
mhm.
Shanahan, like I said, is the same freaking guy that got the god doggone Atlanta Falcons blown and joked for life because he called those stupid plays. I don't care what anybody say. I understand people will joke forever about the Atlanta Falcons not winning the Super Bowl. I freaking get it. But regardless of the fact, I don't care what anybody say, the Atlanta Falcons was supposed to win that god doggone Super Bowl the way things went in that damn game, and they didn't do it. They didn't finish it, and at the
Mhm.
same time, that's why the jokes they are right now. It's ridiculous.
George,
Well,
last word about the Saints before we move on.
oh, okay. I'm going to defend this till the cows come home and prop their feet up and watch TV. I want Jimmy G on this roster. You know what? As a
I'm with you.
diehard Giants fan, I want the 49ers to go all the way this year because here's what's going to happen when Brock Purdy takes them to the bowl. And I think it's in Tempe this year in Arizona, right? If the 49ers
That's
get to the
correct.
Super Bowl with Brock Purdy,
Glendale.
Mr. Irrelevant, then guess what, boys? Jimmy G will not be back in San Francisco. He is done.
He won't
If
be
I'm the
back,
New
period.
Orleans Saints,
He won't be back,
exactly.
period, bro.
I don't want Derek Carr. I want Jimmy Garoppolo.
I
He's
think Jimmy
better
G
than Derek
with
Carr.
Derek Carr.
Facts,
Yes. Yes.
better.
Yes.
There is
Yes.
no undisputed doubt. But that the biggest head on the table for New Orleans is simple. Get a quarterback. You don't have one on your roster. You got Dalton and Winston. You don't want Jameis. You already cracked on the man a zillion times. You know, so let him go make his trade somewhere else. Man, if Garoppolo comes open, it's not going to cost you a lot.
Mm-mm.
Remember, he had a restructured deal in San Francisco because of Trey Lance. So what is it going to really cost
Mm.
you? The 49ers aren't that stupid to ask for a ton. They're not going to get a ton. You may get something, but if I'm New Orleans, you better owe it to your fan base. If you're going to get a quarterback, that's the guy. You want to know why I don't want Lamar Jackson? It's nothing to do with his football ability. It's the fact that he's going to ask for Deshaun money, and the Saints don't have Deshaun money. I want to economize, but get the same caliber of quarterback. I mean, I like Lamar Jackson a lot, but he's not playing in the playoff game Saturday, or I think it's Saturday. They play against the Bengals. Tyler Huntley's going to start. Bet the Bengals, by the way. But for the Saints, it's this offseason more than any other is paramount. Admit to yourselves that this is a rebuild, not a bandage fix to a leaking pipe. This is a complete rebuild and treat it as such. You owe it to your fan base. They can be patient. They can be patient to get this done. Do it the right way. Don't cut corners. Don't put band aids on a leaking faucet because guess what? That bad boy's going to blow up and oops, you're done. Make it work. They'll be patient. Trust me. They'll be patient. But Jimmy Garoppolo looks mighty good week one under center in New Orleans.
All
Well,
right.
we bait the devil. You know what I'm saying? I feel what you're saying about Jimmy G and everything. I understand. I'm like this, like the I like Lamar better. That's just me. We'll see.
All right. Cool. Cool. That was funny.
You just gotta love it on hash it out, man. You see
Yeah.
the audience out there.
Really
You
hashing it out.
are you getting what you want now? You've been waiting on it. Now you got it. You happy?
All right. Here we go. New Orleans Pelicans on the road, right? The Wizards and a loss to the Celtics the other night, but we are without Brandon Ingram and Zion Williamson. Can they do enough to beat the Pistons tomorrow?
Okay.
George, are you there?
Go ahead, George. Go ahead.
Is it me?
Yes,
Yes.
sir.
Okay, because I feel like there's some sound cut out, but I heard most of what you said. If they have enough to look, I think you could get some crackheads and go to beat the Detroit Pistons tomorrow night. That's a
Ooh,
woeful franchise.
God. Oh God.
I'm being mean. But
Yeah.
doesn't Brandon Ingram's injury feel like Jamal McGlory years ago when he missed 67 games with a finger injury? It's a toe.
Yeah.
I don't know what toe it is, but Brandon Ingram, my brother, you might want to make it back sooner rather than later. Zion, they're working on him. Trust me, that 3 week evaluation is to make sure that hamstring is tight for the playoffs. Because they're not thinking about they're going to be in position to be 1, 2, 3, 4 somewhere on the first page of the bracket. Um, although there was an interesting trade proposal for me, and I would absolutely do it. Jackson Hayes to the Orlando Magic from Mo Bamba. I would do that in
Yeah.
a heartbeat.
I'll do
And
it too. Definitely.
Mo Bamba is a big that can score. He's gotten reduced minutes or reduced run in Orlando because they got Paolo Banchero, you know, and whatnot. But I believe, I believe that would be an interesting addition. This road trip is what it is. It's 1-1. They lost at Washington. I mean, they won at Washington. I'm sorry, and then they lost last night at Boston. Look, McCollum has been an absolute warrior since he's snapped out of that shooting slump that he had earlier this year. He's absolutely killed it. So, oh wow, where's that coming from? All right. He's been an absolute killer for the New Orleans Pelicans.
Mhm.
I still believe, Jared, that this is a 50+ win team. It's a team, and I hate to get ahead. Oh my God, I hate to do this because I'm not that kind of guy. But don't they look finals caliber if everybody's on the floor?
If
Who scares you in
everybody's
the
healthy, yes.
Yes? Who scares you in the West? No one. Don't tell me Golden State. And Stephen A.
Not
Smith,
this
get
year.
off the crack, big boy. Yeah, not this
Not
year.
this year.
Negative. Phoenix, I mean, okay, if Booker and Paul get the chemistry right again, we battled those dudes last year, 6 games, and really, quite frankly, could have won that series. The Clippers, man, please, really, stop it. No, they nobody in the Western Conference that scares me. If anything, the Eastern Conference is where your threats are. Simple as that. But short term, let's get these dudes healthy. Let's make a move, not to make a move, but let's make a move to get rid of excess to add where you think you may be short. That's why I brought up Jackson Hayes to Orlando for Mobamba. Why do you think Jackson's gotten more run lately? They're showing him off for teams. They're going to move him. Devontae Graham's got to go too. He doesn't fit here. He's got to go.
I agree.
He looks like a square peg in a round hole. VK. But this Pelicans team, I keep defending this. And no, I didn't put anything on it in the futures. But this is a 50+ win team that has the absolute capability of going all the way. And I hate to say that because I don't want to jinx them.
VK, do they beat the Pistons?
I think they beat the Pistons tomorrow night, but it's going to be closer than people think it's going to be because the Pistons are much better this year. They've been very, very competitive. They got some good wins on their belt, and at the same time, it depends on the points that they're favored. I would not take the Pelicans in the point. I would take Detroit in the points. I think the Pelicans win, but it's going to be closer than people think. Cunningham and also a couple of those players gaining some experience and everything, and they're playing much better together than everything else. So this is not a Detroit team that's like totally, totally trash. They're a team that's going to come in there and is going to fight you all the way to the end. So, you know, I think the Pels are taking care of business. I think they're doing very well. Right now, it's amazing how they're still really competitive, playing real tough against the Celtics, even without all these injuries. You know, should I trade anybody on the team? To be honest, I don't know. To be honest with you, this is to me. I think you keep everybody intact for the reason and one reason only. This is probably the most experienced team in the league right now, outside of the Memphis Grizzlies. You keep them together. And what's scary about the team
Experience?
is this.
More experience
Yes,
in Golden State and the Clippers?
you have to. Here's the thing. You have to understand this. Clippers and Golden State getting old. They're getting old, bro.
Yeah, they
You
getting
have
old,
to. You
but
have to
you
think.
saying
You have to
experience
think.
like
Here's the thing. Here's the thing. Grizzlies got to the second round and was this close to the conference finals. This
okay.
close, and then on top of that, almost a 60-win team, and 60% of their wins was without Ja Morant. Get that? That's amazing.
Get it.
Because not too many
It's
teams.
amazing.
You have to think. No. You have to think about this. In the NBA, I've watched the NBA for years. I have
Me too.
never, maybe but two teams, have seen this that has won many games without their superstar. That has not happened. When you do that, that shows me this. Your talent is a little deeper, and you got a really good coach. Meaning when your superstar come back,
Say that.
that makes the team better.
Say that. Say that right there.
Now, I'm saying both. You know what I'm saying? It just everything
Yeah,
comes
talent, a
along,
good
you
coach.
know?
But you saying experience.
No,
The
you have to think.
Pelicans, but they don't have
You have
any.
to think.
They don't have more experience than a lot of these teams, though.
No, but I'm talking about they got a year under their belt in the postseason. That's what I'm telling you.
Ah,
That's
got
what I'm telling
you.
you. Now you get it, my boy. Now you got it.
Clarity. Yeah.
There you go. I was
All
saying
right.
that because of the fact that when you have, I can see if you inexperienced, you haven't been in the playoffs. These guys been there for those two teams and everything else and how the chemistry they have. That's why I say there shouldn't be a change because of the fact you look at some of the games early when everybody's healthy. It's amazing the starting five can do. It's amazing 7, 8, 9, 10 can do. Maybe 11, 12 you come in. It's how the depth is for the Pels. And I really think more than anything else, I really think they shouldn't trade. I think they should keep what they have intact. Because when everybody comes together healthy, it's going to be amazing what we're going to see, especially when Ingram comes back. So I cannot wait to see it. I don't know if the Pels will win it all this year. I really have a feeling in my heart that the Memphis Grizzlies is going to make that big step this year. But at the same time, I said the Pelicans is going to have the big moment for this for the city of New Orleans coming up next, and it's coming. If it ain't this year, if it's this year, awesome. If not, it's coming up. It's definitely coming up. Eventually, the Pelicans is going to win an NBA title. They just got to continue to work. The scary part about this team and the Memphis Grizzlies, they're gaining experience every year, every week, and they're so young. They're so young compared to Golden State. Now Golden State, they'll be okay because of the fact you got some good youth behind. But at the same time, Curry's getting old. Thompson's getting old. Kawhi's getting old. Paul George getting old. They're weighing down, and these young cats are starting to gain on them. It's gonna be nothing nice. These two teams, they're way, and I hate to say it, they're way better than the Dallas Mavericks right now. And knowing Jokic is happy. I'm not Jokic, but now see, I'm just so wrong for this.
Luca.
Luca, thank you very much, Luca Doncic. Luka Doncic, the way he's been killing this year. But it's just the fact that the supporting cast is not coming together like talking about right now, and they're trying their best. Luka's just doing it all. But right now, the way those two are going, especially the coaching wise, and also with the chemistry, the Grizzlies and the Pels are definitely going to be top notch in the West. They're going to come out of it. We're going to see what happens from there. But the Pels, I think they'll get it done, but in a closer game than everybody will think against Detroit tomorrow.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to answer the question short and sweet. The Pelicans tough ball game with the Pistons, but I think they will get the job done. And I disagree with VK. I agree with my guy George Peppers. As you see, me and George Peppers kind of agree a lot. We don't disagree with one another. Yeah, Jackson, Hayes, and Graham got to go. I think we can get some better pieces to go with this team. As we move on to our last topic, some Louisiana high school basketball we had last weekend at the Alario Center in West Wego, Louisiana. My good friend, Mr. VK, called some games for Crescent City Sports. He was the PA announcer for a couple started, sounding like a DJ. I'm your boy, VK Jones. I was like, oh God. Like a DJ. But anyway, there's some great basketball. The National Boys Tournament came down to a great game between two great Bartlett, Tennessee, where I will be this weekend. And number two, Olympia won 57-53. Some great ball play. Jizzle James, the son of Edgerrin James, to me was the best player at this tournament. This guy can play ball, and the team he was on, they all some Steph Curry lights out. Mr. Stefu, I hope I said it right. I don't remember what school he's from, but they lost to from California. He's a 4-star. He can play ball. And then from Shaw, man, and he played his heart out. Played his heart out. But Bartlett did shut down Shaw and made sure they shut down Bartlett. That guy can coach. When he studied Shaw, for the short time he studied Shaw, that Cam Johnson is not going to beat us. And every time Cam got the ball, they ran a trap and half court, they double teamed him. They got the ball out of his hands, and that helped him. But that's three of the best players I saw that weekend. VK, you was there. And he would freeze. He would freeze.
Yes.
Back.
Yeah, I'm here. I think Jizzle James. Jizzle James was really good. Very much unbelievable. I mean, the way he played, and give a lot of credit to that team out of Olympia. Great guard play, big time. And I know, big shout out to head coach, the former head coach Tim Bird. He said it himself, especially when it matched up against the team out of St. Joseph of California. And he was saying that they have better guards than St. Joe's, in his show. The quickness and everything else, but also the forward outlaw. The outlaw from Olympia was real big, crashing the boards and everything else for Olympia to get it done. And then also Bartlett, with a couple of their guards and a couple of their forwards, they had a good mix. They had to come back, and they had to come back and beat St. Aug at the buzzer. They had to win an overtime game. They won big games in urgency, but then against Shaw had a breakout game. Sorry, Jared, on that one, but at the same time, he gave some props to Bartlett. Bartlett, I mean, they proved it was a better team and everything, but I tell you, the city has to watch out for the Shaw Eagles. They'll be very dangerous in itself. They're gonna be lacking a little bit on size, but they do have some very good good players, and everything else. But what a good tournament it was, and some very good players coming out. National bracket, the state bracket. Rummel, obviously, Jesuit beating Rummel in a low-scoring, close ball game that it was, and they're going to be meeting come up again, I believe, on Saturday. So that's going to be something there. And, I think a lot of the coaches, including Chris Jennings, Mr. Kirkwood, and I believe Scott Thompson, big shout out to him. I mean, very great guy. Just, I remember he was at Brother Martin. I covered him myself. And they all said the cat with this new format that they have now, the Catholic League need to go to one round. They need to go to one round, not two, because of the fact of this different format now in Division One, with all these teams all in there now. So it was interesting for them to see in perspective. On the girl side, it was a real good tournament on the girl side. In the platinum bracket, I was at the gold bracket at first. We had a repeat champion, second time ever in the tournament. The Amite Lady Warriors, and it was a very good tournament for Coach Renee, and also Milka Irving, and also Bromfield, a couple of those guards. Very, very quick team, and probably one of the most dangerous teams they're one of the most dangerous girls teams in the state. The reason why, Jared, George, Amite has one senior. One senior. They're going to be good for years to come, this Amite team, as they got the job then to St. Thomas More women, girls. They're really good too. And they're going to be, though both of those teams, I wouldn't be surprised, they might have a chance to win state championships. And the platinum bracket, it was Bartlett girls who got it done in overtime against Lafayette Christian. And Lafayette Christian has got a bad girl. Probably the best player in the state of Louisiana. And off the top of my head, I might have to do a quick research on her, because a couple people told me about this girl. She is really, really good, and she really showed it.
She a junior?
Night. She really, really did, because I was like, I believe she's a junior.
What are you talking about?
And is already looked at.
Yeah.
Yes.
Mike Coppins been
a couple schools
posting her a lot on Facebook.
I was looking at her.
Yeah.
I was about to say, yeah, I was trying to get her name right quick. But man, she's really good from Lafayette Christian. They're young too. All on that squad. So that is a good, scary team this year on the girl side. But what a tournament out there in the left center, and then we had a real good week of hoops itself. You know what I'm saying? But George, I want to get, I don't know if you on Alario Center's action of the 2023 All-State Sugar Bowl National event. You want to get some thoughts on it right quick before we go a little bit further, because we got to recap a little bit on they had on the floor this week.
I obviously couldn't watch the tournament, even on replay, because I have such a convoluted work schedule. That being said, I want to harp on this: the fact of how this tournament has grown. When it was birthrighted by Ed Daniels and Timmy Byrne, remember, they were the two that put this thing together. Now, when you talk about the tournament and recapping this season, this tournament this year, you're mentioning national entities that are going to be very good and probably ranked in the USA Today Super 25.
Yeah.
We didn't have that when this tournament started. Now, I obviously wasn't there. So the question I have before I continue: how was the crowd attendance over the sessions that you guys went to? That's the question I have, because that's the other key point you want to mention.
The parking lot was full, and they got gym, and they got the 6 courts in the back, so they had people all over.
So what does that tell you? People travel when there's quality basketball. They're gonna be there. And look, the one impression, based on what you guys are saying, Cameron Johnson and Shaw are gonna be just fine as we turn the page from the Sugar Bowl into the rest of the regular season and into the playoffs that we're gonna have going forward. Shaw will be fine. St. Aug has had some middling results this year, from what I saw. They got destroyed. I think was it by Scotlandville? Uh, was it
Yeah.
Scotlandville that beat them?
Yes.
Yeah, they got bombarded.
Yes.
And that's a game that always is competitive, but it looked like they didn't show up in that game. John Ehret is much improved. I mean, obviously they weren't in the Sugar Bowl tournament because they would have got their hats handed to them. They can't beat those kind of teams. Um, and then you mentioned the individual talent. Amit, you mentioned on the girls' side is going to be really good. What about Warren Easton? I mean, that was a team that's been hyped up the last few years on the girls' side. How did they look in this tournament or
They
whatnot?
they
Because
did
again,
they,
I wasn't there. Y'all weren't.
Go ahead,
Uh-oh.
VK.
I think Bernie Easton didn't really do too. I'm here. I'm here. I said they didn't do too bad. They didn't do too bad in the tournament.
Mm-hmm.
So they didn't do too bad. Mount Carmel had a nice showing. John Curtis had a not bad showing either, especially under new head coach Alondra Brown. So
Right.
she didn't do too bad either. But they had their share of some success and some
Mm-hmm.
setbacks a little bit. But it's a real good turn to really get everything going forward and get the season in a more perspective before district gets
Mm-hmm.
rolling more than anything else.
Which piggybacks to my next question for both of you. A tournament setting like this, where you're seeing the best of the best, top tier, how much does it help the Louisiana teams now that we head to district play? And especially the elite Louisiana teams, the teams that we think are going to be competitors for the whole thing later this year. How much does this tournament help them, like a Shaw, like a Meat on the girls' side, Lafayette Christian? How much does it help them going forward? This question is to both of you.
I'll, I'll go first. Newman, Shaw, North Shore, St. all in the national bracket lost. But I think playing these big national teams, it helped Mississippi. They had a what's his name? Shannon Givens? Shannon Gavin? Rashawn? I know his name is Shannon. He's like a 4-star player. He was in foul trouble with Shaw and Newman playing these big time teams. You get to see where you're to work on playing these national teams, and then you can go back and work on that. So out of all of it, it really helps. VK?
Indeed, it helps big time. More than anything else, you need this competition. You need to see what they can do and everything else. And it's a really good tournament, and it everybody's a winner. It's a winner. It's a win-win, especially if a local team goes deep. And it's not surprising the national team wins it a lot of the time, but you gotta love it when a
Right.
local team gets deep into the tournament and has a chance of winning or wins it itself. So the All-State
Yeah.
Sugar Bowl um, national tournament has been unbelievable, and that's what I love about high school basketball. These holiday tournaments, especially here in the city or in the state in Baton Rouge, you got or Lafayette, wherever you want to call it in the state, you gotta love these holiday tournaments because you can tell the tale, and this is real test, especially non-district, to see how good these teams are, especially with a chance for them to try to make it deep into the postseason. Now, Tuesday we had some huge games, huge big wins on down the line. You look at the Catholic League. John Curtis got the win over St. Aug. So that's a huge win for Curtis. Curtis had a not bad tournament. They was in the national tournament themselves and had a win. And then the big thing with John Curtis, they have a big transfer, Samaje McClendon, who was at Hannon last year, is at Curtis now. So that's gonna really help the Patriots, especially going forward in the Cat League, and a chance for them to win the state championship. Also, Rummel, they beat Holy Cross. Holy Cross was recently undefeated, and Holy Cross has a very good team, very improved team, and Rummel is a very scary team. And I'm gonna say this about Rummel: Rummel possibly has maybe the deepest bench in the state because they run about 12, 13 deep. And I mean, and I tell you, it comes with waves. It kind of look like it reminds you of the old Rummel teams with Rusty Jones. Tough athletes that come off the bench, that tough athletes that be in the game, come off the bench, makes for you. So this Rummel team is very much improved. That's a huge win against Holy Cross. And then I believe there was a lot of good ones. The big game of the night was Landry Carver. Landry Carver, and it was a great ball game down to the wire. Landry had a 6-point lead with about, I believe, 2 minutes left. Jared, I don't know if you said that right. I think maybe 2 minutes or a minute and a half. Carver comes back, forces overtime, and the Rams wins it in overtime by 3 over in Algiers. So what a ball game that was. Carver led by Jalen Hicks, the one guy that really has taken over this team and is really taking charge. And big ups to Coach Nathaniel Roche. Despite what he's lost last year, Willie Anderson, Dorian Finister, and also Solomon Washington, this Carver team still looks strong again, loaded the bear, and could have a chance to go back to back in state championships. So, but tomorrow night we also have a big game. Landry once again at home. This is a must win for them. They has played a very, very, very tough schedule. They will take on an improved John Ehret team tomorrow night in Algiers. That is going to be one heck of a game. That's a must win for Landry and a must win for Ehret because Ehret trying to get on a high more than anything else before they get into their district.
I got one question before we end this show. I just need a yes or personal opinion. Just a yes or no. That's all I want. If Cam 6'2", is he the best player in the state? George, you go first. George
Peppers, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
There you go.
Go ahead, George.
All right, can you hear me? Okay, I heard the question. I was looking at the potential the power ratings, just looking to see. But anyway, to answer your question, quite frankly, if Bartlett, Tennessee recognizes how good he is, and Bartlett, Tennessee is a pretty good ball club out of that state, be interesting to follow them. If they recognize how good he is, you think they've already put the blueprint out for other teams? It's just a matter of those other teams have that kind of personnel to neutralize Cam Johnson. It's all about how good he is. He's an outstanding player and is a game changer. That's fact. And no, I'm not sucking up to the Archbishop Shaw alumni. But I do believe Cam Johnson is an elite player. Is he a senior? Because that's the thing I don't know.
Yes,
Jared. He is a senior. Yes. Who's looking at him? Has he committed?
It's
who's
hard.
looking at him?
Bad. Loyola is the only one who's offered. That's it. Loyola.
That's not a bad thing. That's not a bad thing. Loyola's got they got alpha dogs on that roster that are defending national champions. That's not the worst thing in the world. And an Eric Grad is, I mean, they are extremely relevant. They have a team that can go back and win it again. But Cam Johnson is the best player in the state of Louisiana because, again, if a national entity can figure that out, what do you think the state teams can do? I mean, that's where my benchmark lies. If a team like Bartlett, Tennessee, who made the finals of this Sugar Bowl tournament, figured out Cam Johnson, BK, I mean, that's got to be the blueprint to take Shaw out, is to neutralize Cam. And really, the recognition of how good he is, that's what I think it's more than anything else. It's not any indictment. It's the fact that they know how good that dude is.
I think I think Cam Johnson, yes, he is the best player in the state, but right behind him, I like Cam as number one. Right behind him, and I'm like this: if they meet each other and they are in the same division in the playoffs, that will be a hell of a matchup. And I'm gonna tell you this: Cam gonna have to put in work. Jalen Hicks of Carver. Jalen Hicks has really stepped in as the leader for the Rams, and he has stepped up in some huge games. He is averaging 18 a game, and he has been balling out of control. And he's 6'3", 6'2.5", and 6'2.5". I can say he can definitely handle the ball well. He can take it to the hole. He can shoot the ball very well for Carver. So that would be a great matchup if they ever meet. But I like Cam. Cam is one. Jalen Hicks is two. Three, Dorian Booker out of Scotlandville, the 7-footer. He has improved his game from late last year to this year. So I would not count that 7-footer out. He has really, really improved. He was a little soft last season, but now it look like his game has kind of turned a bit, and he's really out there digging for the Scotlandville Hornets. I like him a lot. So those three really stands out. And I thought it was another player that was in my head that I really
That's
had
it.
on my. But that's about it. But I'm just saying the talent. I'm just saying basically the talent that's out there. But Cam is definitely the guy.
I'll end it on this. If Cam was 6 feet or 6'2", he's definitely the best player in the state here. A 5'7" point guard, man, that can play basketball. Plain and simple. But
Agreed.
it's our show for tonight. We thank y'all for tuning in. We'll be back next Wednesday, probably next Thursday. 2 shows. We will have the head coach of the Kennedy basketball team, Coach Monique Scott, on one of those days. So y'all please tune in. K. Jones, my good friend George Peppers. I'm JB, your sports guy. We'll see you next week.